Welcome to Dare Yourself. I'm Natalie Kogan, coming to you from my art studio, which is a place of messy, imperfect action. We are here to talk about reinvention, courage, and why action always beats perfection. And my guest today is Paula. Paula joined my accelerator just months after a sudden loss of her husband. She didn't come there to get over the pain or forget the pain. She came to find a way to move forward through it. And in the process, she discovered a really profound truth, and I'm so excited to talk to her about it, that grief and joy can sit at the same table. And in that space, Paul actually did something remarkable. She helped her son fulfill his dream of becoming a published author. Paula, welcome to Dare Yourself. I am so happy you're here.
And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, let's dive in. So you just suffered an unimaginable loss. Your world is shattered. I mean, we'll talk about him, but your husband was your soulmate. You were together for many decades. But you make this incredibly courageous choice, not just to kind of survive, but to actually move forward and find a way to find joy and love again and create a positive impact. That is such an incredible act of courage. So I want to ask you, I want to start with this question. Most people would not be joining an accelerator that's called Unleash Your Next. They would probably want to retreat. So I want to hear from you, like, what was that internal whisper? What was it in you that made you say, you know what, this is what I need to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I saw, as we go way back, right? You did a keynote at my company that I work for, and I've listened to your podcast. I've done other accelerators. And so when I saw this one come about, I looked at it and I thought, I don't know how I could do this, but if I'm going to be able to move in a direction that I need to move for myself and for my family, I knew that you could help me get there. Plain and simple, right?
And I just want you to acknowledge that, Paula, that was an incredibly courageous choice. Like, you talk about it like, well, this is what I did, but it was much easier to just kind of stay in bed. And talk actually about, like, in those early days and even now, like, what does moving forward actually feel like to you? What is it like? Is it, showing up for certain things, or just what does that mean to move forward after such a loss?
Yeah. So each day looks a little different, right? In the early days, I thought if I can just get to the shower, like that is a win for this day, if I can just make it to the shower. And, Zach and I were married for almost 30 years. We would have celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary on December the 23rd. And he was truly my soulmate, the love of my life, the best husband, the best father, like my best friend, right? He was my person. And so, it devastated me. It wrecked my world. It shattered. It tore it apart. But I knew a couple of things, right? Like I knew deep down that would want me to move forward, right? For our family, for me. He loved me. He supported me in every single, no matter what crazy idea it was, right? He supported me. And I had a lot of crazy ones over the years. We were together for obviously, the 30, but before that, when we dated, he supported me with everything. And so just being able to say, he would want me to move forward. And I have 4 beautiful, beautiful children. We, they were our world, and they are my world. And so I knew that I needed to find a path forward for them, right? And then I also knew that for me, to honor him, that I needed to find a path forward. And so, as you say, I have learned that grief and joy can live in every single day. It's not easy. Like it's work, right? But I am so grateful to be putting in the work. And so
So talk about that a little bit, Paula, because that's, when we do these Unleash Your Next accelerators, people come into them for different reasons. Some people are launching a business, some people are changing careers, some people are growing their business, and some people are just a they're going through a significant change or life transition and they want to create a new way of being. And we all choose these pivotal projects, right? Or I have here, I
Right.
hope you all, right? And your pivotal project, which I loved when you did it, it was about like finding joy in every day.
Yes.
And joy is something, I mean, I've talked about joy and happiness for a decade, but I feel that often we've kind of make it almost trivial.
Hmm.
Oh, it's joy, but what you experienced and what you've retaught me and re-inspired in me is we often have to fight for our joy.
Yeah.
And that's what you showed us all how to do. And so can you talk a little bit about, if someone is listening and they're listening right now and they're like, I've gone through a loss. It feels almost like cheating to feel joy. I wonder if you could talk about that a little. Did you ever feel that way?
Absolutely, and thank you. And I will say this to anybody that's listening that has gone through this or feels like they just can't find a path forward, right? Be kind to yourself, right? Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. Show yourself love because this is the hardest thing, but it is possible. And to talk about, do you feel, sometimes that I shouldn't feel joy, right? Like I've lost this the love of my life, right? But here's the thing. I have learned throughout this that we are, and I've learned so much from you too. So I want to acknowledge all of that.
Thank you.
But we are humans. We're meant to feel everything, right? We are meant to feel every single emotion, and that's okay. Like if we're having a day where it's just too much and we need to let somebody know that, hey, I can't do this today and here's why, that's okay, right? And I've shared with you, right? I will laugh and then I will be in tears at night, right? Like it's every emotion that there is. And I've also learned one of the things that I'm working on this year is just to focus on health because not only does grief show up, in your brain and all these feelings, but it's very much in the body and you feel it so much. And I continue to feel that. And so that is my way of addressing that, right? To get out, to get active. As you know, in the accelerator, I had tried some different, exercise classes that I had never done before.
What were
And
okay, share with us, Paula. Actually, let's share with our listeners because it was so fun. What were some things that you tried?
so I've tried some different yogas. I tried this sound bath, which is not, it's like this whole experience that I'd never had in my life. I was out playing ping pong, like you name it. I was doing all these different things. And one of the things that I have learned, when I was a little girl, I used to love to just turn on music and dance, right? And I've learned to, embrace that again as an adult. Just dance and feel everything. We are meant to feel everything. And one of the things that I have continued, I am so blessed to have so many wonderful friends and family that have shown up for me in ways that are just, they've sat with me while I've cried. They have brought food. They have sent cards. They have so many things. And so I'm so blessed with all of that. And I'm so glad that I've continued to keep those relationships,
Mm,
right? Active and saying yes. And again, not to say that sometimes like I don't have to say, look, it's like I'm struggling today, right?
mhm.
But just continuing to be able to say yes to that has helped me move forward, right? And Zach will always, his name is mentioned every single day, every single day. I'm so in love with him. I'm so like, he's still so much a part of me. Does it hurt? Do I feel? Do I cry? Yes, every single thing. Yeah.
I think such a, something you said, because I was thinking before this conversation, kind of this. what has been this unifying thing that you've been doing. I feel like what you've chosen to do is to say yes to life.
Yes. Yes.
And as you just said, Zach is still a part of it in every aspect through you, your life, your children, your friends, your family. But you've chosen to, like, amidst this tragic loss, you dared yourself to say yes to life, right? Everything
Yes.
from finding joy, staying healthy, trying ping pong, dancing again. And I think it is such an important just thing to acknowledge that we do have a choice, that no matter, and you're the example of it, right? No matter what is happening, we have a choice and we can say yes to life. And so I want to talk about one of the biggest ways you've said yes to life is you have been working, and we started working on it together. You started in my previous accelerator and you really went at it this time on helping your son make his dream come true of publishing a book, which I think is
Yes.
amazing. Can you tell us that story? Tell us a little bit where the book came from and then what you did. And it's almost there.
Yes, yes, it's so exciting. So Cooper is my son. He has this amazing spirit about him. He is so full of life. And he was diagnosed and has Down syndrome. But the great thing is that he has never been defined by that diagnosis, right? Like we've always said, do anything you want to do. Anything is possible, right? And so one day he was sitting in class, and I have to acknowledge a wonderful teacher he had by the name of Brian Corneal. And so this was in middle school. And so he wasn't really focused on what he was doing. And he was said, you need to be reading, right? And we put a story about this in the book. But he said, well, there's nothing here I want to read. And so his teacher said, well, then let's put together a story that we can read, right? Like, what do you like? They started having this conversation. Cooper's like, I could write a book, right? And so it became so just a beautiful story. And they worked on these. And so there's a little series now, right? I just got the first one out there, but it's just this cute little story of what he was wanted to express that day. And it kind of follows up, and there's lots of animals in there. And one of the upcoming books has dolphins, which Cooper just recently rode the dolphins we went on a cruise. And so he did that and got to spend time. But it's really one of those things where to see the light in his eyes that this is becoming a reality, he is so excited. And the teacher, I reached back out to, because Cooper's now moved on to ninth grade. And so I reached out to him, and he's so excited. But this was something that I was able to really just focus on. And I love touching other people's lives,
Mm.
right? Like I love helping other people, not only my kids. One of the things that we have done is we set up a scholarship in Zach's memory. And so through our local education foundation. And so that's one of the things that we can continue to touch students' lives, right? By the scholarships that we will give away through the years. So
But I want to take
it's,
you back,
yeah,
Paula, because I want to talk
yeah,
more about the book,
yeah,
because this
yeah,
is
yeah.
an amazing thing for Cooper, but actually
Yes,
also a way that you broke through a limiting belief that you had about yourself, which was,
absolutely.
I am not creative, right? I
Right,
remember you saying it
right,
to me in the accelerator, and you said, he wants to get this book illustrated. I'm not creative. I don't even know how to do this. And
right.
you went from that to hiring an illustrator. The book is now illustrated and it's about to be published. And we'll share
Yes.
the link in the show notes once it is. And so I just want you also to talk about what that has meant for you to break through or overcome this belief you had and bring this, like, it was not easy to actually do this amazing project, and to do it at this time after you suffered this loss that also I bet would make Zach really proud of you. So I just want to talk to you about overcoming that initial belief of, I can't do this.
Right, right. And I did. I had that, and you and I have worked together so long, and I've had some different limiting beliefs along the way, right? And so many of those I have overcome through working with you. And it was very much, I'm like, I'm not good at this. Like, I don't know how to do this. I've never done this before. And it's easy to say, well, okay, and stop short, right? But each step, just finding the sprints helped tremendously, right? Like every day focusing on one thing. It didn't have to be huge. It was just one thing. Right. And so being able to do that and then finally hitting the button to submit was like huge, right? Like that felt so good. It felt like, and it's something that Zach and I had talked about doing, before he had passed. And so it's something to bring to life, right? To celebrate. And I think, I talk back to my brain a lot as I've learned from you, right? In all aspects on my limiting beliefs, of I'm not creative enough. Well, who says that, right? Nobody's ever told me that I'm not creative enough, right? And so it's talking back to my brain. It's, doing the small steps every single day to move forward. And I'm beyond thrilled about this book.
I cannot wait to see it out in the world, Paula, and because I can't wait to read it and I can't wait to see the illustrations, but also it's what you have just been talking about, just seeing you go from, I can't do this, I'm not creative, I don't know how to make this happen, to I don't have to know how to do this. I'm just going to take one step a day and do it. That was the biggest shift is I don't have to know how it all comes together. I'm just going to do one step at a time. And I remember when you were like, okay, I'm going to write the description for the illustrator. I'm going to post it. I'm going to review the 3 applications. Da, 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 da. And
Yes.
and now you've created, now you're helping your son's dream come true. You're so
Yes.
proud of yourself. And as I always remind you, like, you can no longer say you're not creative, because if your brain ever wants to say that, that's actually not true, right? Because the way we actually change our limiting beliefs is through new action. And I think it's amazing what you have done, and that you didn't give up on it because you've suffered such a loss, that you actually, as you just said, like said, no, this is something to celebrate, create, to honor what Zach would want, to honor your son. And so I think it's such a huge achievement. I can't wait for the book to be out. And one other thing I just want to talk about, because you and I were talking about this, there's a lot of people in my community who are educators, and it
Yes.
can be a tough job. It can be
Yes.
a tough job. And just the way that I've heard you talk about this teacher who
Yes.
really paid attention to Cooper. And I just wonder if you want to just say a few words about the power of that, that even when things are challenging in a classroom, what this teacher did changed the course of Cooper's life.
Yes, and truly did. So with Cooper, having a teacher believe so strongly, and I'm so grateful we're in such a wonderful school district, because there have been so many teachers along the way that have shown up for Cooper, have listened to him, and believed that anything was possible, right? They didn't define him by his diagnosis. And this teacher saw something in him with this book. And it's a kid's story, right? But it's so much more than a kid's story, right? It's about a teacher believing in a student. It's about a student doing something that they thought wasn't possible, right? And it's about a mom believing and having a path forward and changing her beliefs, right? Like it's so much more. And you're right. Like when these doubts come in, because they do, right? Like we're human. Like every day, whether it's my dealing with grief, which is here every day and will stay, right? It's not a season. No, but it is about making the decision to get up every day and find joy and find a path forward and doing those little steps. I now believe that I can do so many things, right? One of the things that I've never perceived myself, again, creative, right? Like never great in the backyard with designing, and flowers. Throughout this, yes, you are, right? Just do small things. So who knows what's next, right? Like,
I
who
love
knows?
hearing that, Paula, so much. My
Yes,
heart just jumped out of my body and danced around my
yes,
art studio and came back hearing you say, I can do anything, because it is true,
yes,
because you don't have to know how the whole thing turns out when you begin. All you have to do is just take these small steps, and that's it. That's the dare, is just to take
right.
that small step. And I actually, I want to ask you this last question, and you've talked about this, but there's someone listening right now who has had what I call kind of life stopped for them in some way. Maybe they lost someone they love. Maybe they're dealing with a health crisis. Maybe there's something else. And what would you say to them about just this relationship between taking action and healing?
So they work so hand in hand, right? For anybody that's listening, that's out there, and you've lost the love of your life, you've lost that person that you had all your memories with, all of your dreams for your future, like all of those things in one. Just remember, again, show up and do little steps. Just do, if all you can do today is go to the shower, right? If all you can do today is say, I'll show myself grace, that's enough, right? But start taking those little steps, and they don't have to be big. I promise you, there's days where my steps are so tiny, but that focus, right? Continuing to move forward. And there is joy in this world, right? Even through the pain, the heartbreak, and I feel it. I feel the heartbreak. I know the heartbreak. Again, the love of my life, my person is gone from this, but I still have him in my heart, and I can still honor those wonderful, beautiful memories. I can still build the life and make sure his name is mentioned every single day,
And
right?
you can still do, not just still, and you can say yes to life. That's the
Yes,
biggest thing that I've learned from you, Paula.
yes,
And you can say yes to life. You can say yes to growing. You can say yes to breaking through limiting beliefs. You can create new things. Everything
yes,
from publishing books with your son to redecorating your backyard to starting to dance again to who knows more.
yes,
I
yes,
just want to tell you, Paula, it's such an honor to work with you and to know you. I'm sure you've inspired everyone listening. You've inspired me in a really meaningful way. And especially to remember that our hearts can hold many things at once, that we are very complex, abundant human beings, that we can hold grief and joy, fear and momentum. We can hold so many things. So you are truly like the ultimate proof to me that no matter what happens, we have the ability to choose what we do with it. And what you've done is truly inspiring. I'm so grateful to know you and to work with you. And I'm so grateful for this conversation.
Natalie, I just want to take a moment to thank you, because all of the things that I have been able to pull together, so much of it is thanks to you.
Mm.
Whether it was in your podcast, whether it was through the accelerators, the keynote speaking, whatever it was, I have pulled so much from you, and you summarized it so well, right? We are so full of every emotion. We are complex beings, right? It's not easy, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it to move forward. And again, if you're listening and you've went through something like this, or you're having health issues, just know that you are loved, right? Like you have somebody that you can go forward, you can move forward and take those little steps. Yes, it will be hard, but I promise you it is so, so worth it. But thank you, Natalie. It
No, thank
truly
you,
is.
Paula.
I'm
Truly,
just,
it's an
yeah,
honor.
it's
So
an honor.
inspiring. All right, everyone. As always, we're going to end with I have a dare for all of you. So Your dare for this week is I want you to identify one thing that you've been putting off because you're not in the right headspace, or maybe you're waiting to feel better, whatever it is, right? Maybe it's a project, a conversation, or taking steps on your dream, like Paula did with publishing her son's book. And I want you to just commit to taking one imperfect, small action on that thing in the next 24 hours. So don't wait to get into the right headspace. Don't wait to feel better. Just start with that one little step, because as Paula has shown us, action is actually part of our healing. Action, those little steps, the moving forward, is actually part of what helps us to get into a better headspace or feel better. If you found this conversation valuable, please hit follow and share this episode with one person who needs a little more daring and audacity in their lives. I'm Natalie Kogan. I'll be back next week. And until then, what are you waiting for? Go and dare yourself.